Is a little bit trickier. We're kind of bringing back our repeated addition knowledge from when we looked at multiplication. So if you remember, when we look at a multiplication sentence, we can read it as this many groups of this. So in this case, we have 3 boxes, each with 8 in it. So we have 3 groups of 8, or 3 times 8. Our repeated addition sentence for that would be 8 plus 8 plus 8. Now, when we're looking at this in terms of a balanced equation, we can see that it's equal here. So this side is equal with this side. So we have the same amount on this side as we do over here. So if we have 8 plus 8 plus 8 on this side, and we have 24 over here, we can assume, or we know because they're equal here, that this is also 24. And we know that because 8 plus 8 plus 8, or 3 times 8, also equals 24. So that's how this works. So we're going to be looking at repeated addition or multiplication to help us with our algebra. So in this first example here, we have a balanced scale, and we have 5 boxes, each with 9 in them. So 5 groups of 9. So we know that's 5 times 9, and they've written that over here. So what your job is to do in this first question and in the second one is to figure out what this equals. So essentially you're just figuring out what 5 times 9 equals. That's going to go on this other side of the scale, and it's also going to be the answer over in this box. Okay, so those ones are pretty simple. Now where it gets a little bit more tricky is down here for C and D, because what they've done is they've given you the answer, or what's on this side of the scale, and they've told you how many boxes there are, but they have not told you how many is in each box. So it's then your job to figure out what the blank is here, so how many is in each box, and you need to keep in mind that each box has the same amount in it. So I can't have 2 in this box and 3 in this box and then 2 over here. No, they all need to have the same amount. Just like all of them have 7 up here, just like all of them have 9 up here, they all have to have the same amount in them. So you need to figure out how many is going to be in each box, so that if I have 7 of them, in total I'm going to have 63. Okay? And for this one, you can do a bit of trial and error if you do not look at the question and know right away what times 7 equals 63. So if you don't know it right away, you can try some numbers. Maybe you want to try times 3. Maybe you want to try times 4 and see which one works, which one is getting you closer, which one gets you above, those kind of things. Okay? And you're doing the same exact thing for D down here. Now, for the second page that you are working on, it's a little bit more tricky, okay? So make sure you're really paying attention to these instructions. So in number 2, we have symbols on both sides. Now it's important that you pay attention to what it tells you in this little blurb here. So here it tells you a triangle is worth 5. So this is 5 and this is 5, okay? And it wants to know, and you might even want to write, if you print this off, you might even want to write 5 in each of the triangles, if that helps. And then you're wanting to figure out how much is in each of these squares, or how much is this square worth, okay? So they've set up your equation, or how you're going to figure that out over here, okay? So we know that these two sides are equal. We see our balanced scale is equal. So we know that 2 triangles is equal to 5 of these squares, okay? So they set up an equation to say that. They know that we have 2 triangles that each equal 5, okay? They told us that already. And we know that that's equal to, because our scale is balanced, 5 squares that have a certain amount in it. We don't know how much. So the way that we can figure out how much each of the squares is worth is we can figure out how much do we have on this side. So take a second to figure out how much we have on this side, right? We have 10. 5 times 2 is 10. Now that means that we also need 10 on this side. So your next step is that you need to figure out what times 5 is going to give me 10. And whatever your answer is there, that's how much each of these squares is worth. Okay? And you're going to do that for each one of these. And they've set you up with your equations for each one of these down the line. The only thing that's changing down here is it says it's telling you what each side equals in these bottom two. So in this first example, A, it's now telling you that this side with 2 triangles has to equal 36, and this side with 3 squares has to equal 36. So now you need to figure out how much is each of those triangles worth if this side equals 36, and how much is each of these squares worth if this side has to equal 36. And you're going to do the same down here, just with each of them equaling 10.